the search command also opens chests without having to use the take command. But anyways, here we go. We start off in the throne room, the king giving us our little speech, and then we'll check and see what are in these 3 chests. And there's Erdrick's sword.
I guess Drakeys aren't going to be a problem.
Yeah, no kidding. So the Erdrick sword is going to be a huge, huge benefit to these runners this early. They also start with the return spell in 2 towns right nearby. Remoldar in one of them. Holy cow.
Is it just every time you can get the key out, Remoldar's 7 steps away?
Yeah, no kidding, right?
But that said, you pretty much get everything at the start here, right? Was that a one-shot of a Scorpion on the CD side and Will Wagner right behind?
Yeah, with a Drakima kill there. So Erdrick's sword is such an important find because at the slower strength, Erdrick's sword is going to add 40 attack power to her score, and that is just going to make everything in this zone super easy. So we're going to see these runners just skyrocket through a couple of levels here.
Yeah, one of the other interesting things with Randomizer is always how long you stay in the starting zone and grind. With the sword, you can pick up experience really fast, so I'd expect to see maybe 3 or 4 levels around here very fast. Oh, there's Charlock right nearby too. Just everything right near.
Yeah, the only thing that's a little daunting there is that swamp to the north. It's not too bad, though. Looks like the east is going to open up pretty well. WillWagnerMusic deciding to get a little bit of exploration done, utilizing that big 15 by 15 square that this zone is going to be in.
So both runners on, they're about to go to level 4 now, looks like, but I'll point out 1 agility in the first 2 levels. Oh, there's 2. And Beta noting, too, in chat that they did pick up the regular heal spell, which at this stage, you don't really want to use all 8 of your MP on heal more, so the heal spell will give them 2 casts of heal right now, which is nice.
Yeah, and that's something that's really nice about the randomizer. The randomizer heal only costs 3 MP instead of 4 MP, so it makes it a little bit easier to stretch your MP with it.
Yeah, and with these levels, they're getting a lot of HP, I guess some decent strength, but the agility and magic is really lagging behind. Magic especially, they're still on 8 MP, really?
Yeah, so MP is definitely going to be an issue this seed, especially seeing as how it looks like pretty much the way to go is going to be north through that swamp. But with CD picking up keys, I would not be surprised if I saw her go and pick up the Treasury in Tantagel. And then also we have the Silver Shield in Remoldar as well, so there's potential for a gold grind here as well.
Well, Will just picked up level 5 and found all the strength. There was one of those 23s that I was talking about, but still not a lot of MP.
Yeah, and not much for agility either. That was a 0 agility, I believe.
Who needs agility? You can just smash everything upside the head.
Yeah, for now.
Looks like Will is on a little quest into the castle to buy more keys and check out the treasury,
I would assume that that's the case. I really like this move. With Tantagel having things that are so close together, it just makes it so much more efficient to spend that extra gold there to come in and get stuff here instead of going to Remoldar, walking all the way around the town. I think that's huge. But we got a few key things here in the throne, or in the treasury. The castle treasury has gold in it, which is going to enable us to do a gold grind later on. And then also we have the stones of sunlight were in there as well.
Yeah, between the fighter's ring, the stones of sunlight, and the sword, and that gold chest too, we've found most of the things we care about in treasure chests. We only need the silver harp out of a treasure chest, maybe a death necklace, I guess we have high HP, and maybe if it's there, a token. So we might be looking at skipping some caves if this keeps...
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. My only thing with it is that I would say that without the knowledge of the search spots, if they were to run into a cave, I definitely would expect them to dive that cave without having any knowledge of whether or not the token can be in a chest or not. So the randomizer is going to allow for the token to be either on one of the 3 search spots in the overworld. It can either be in the search spot 4 tiles south of the Bath and Coal. It can be on the search spot at Gwyn's shop in Hawksness, or somewhere randomly placed on the overworld. So seeing as how we haven't seen a cursed belt, which would take the place of the token or the fairy flute respectively, I would say that a cave dive is definitely warranted.
The other thing I'll point out, though, is that, we don't really need the token super fast, as Will Wagner backdoors into Garanham, so he's going to open up 3 more chests here. We don't really need the token super fast, so you have to go look at those search spots for the armor anyway. Maybe you could try to save some time.
Yeah, and with the bottom basement of Tantagel linking over to Garanham, we have seen that WillWagnerMusic has triggered a treasure chest glitch. Ryan, you want to take a swing at how that works?
Yeah, so with the limited programming capacities of the time, the game can only keep track of 8 open treasure chests. When you visit the throne room, 3 of those are marked off, so you can't take the starting 3 chests over and over and over again. And so if you can open up 5 chests without going onto the overworld, you'll overflow that array and be able to open up chests as much as you want. So this means that if you open up 8 chests and then open up a gold chest, it'll stay there and you just keep picking up gold over and over and over again and grind the gold. Will Wagner didn't know about it at the time, so he opened them in a different order, and he ended up doing what they called an herb grind in chat. He was able to open an herb chest over and over and over again. But if he desires, he can go back through the other way now, and since there's gold in the treasury, do a gold grind. I don't know if he's still seen the silver shield in Remulder. I don't know if he has any interest, but it is possible.
Yeah, and that's definitely a good point to make there. So WillWagnerMusic picked up an item in Garanham, and that item is the Dragon Scale, which is going to add 2 defense to his grand total. Meanwhile, cdinprov has chosen to go the other route and has attained level 6. So she has taken the experience lead, whereas WillWagnerMusic now has the exploration.
And as they point out in chat, it does look like Will is doing the gold grind. He's picked up the 3 chests in Garanham, and he looks like he's heading back towards the castle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is such a quick and effective way of doing this. This play is just brilliant play on his part. What it's going to allow him to do is it's going to allow him to purchase not only the magic armor, but also the silver shield relatively early in the game. So even though he's being sent back to the king here, he never left to the overworld. So those 3 chests are still going to be marked. So that death is irrelevant. And he's literally, 5 steps away? And then cdinprov picking up the fairy flute in coal. But WillWagnerMusic is just going to be able to get all the gold here. Unfortunately, he made a small error there. It's going to cost him a little bit of time if he decides to do it again. I would be surprised to see if he did.
Yeah, I'll just point out, they've noted in chat that CD found the most Spark over town ever. Spark Hole, I believe we called it. But yeah, unfortunately, just a fairy flute. Sparkle. Sorry, Spark over. Sparkle.
And it looks like Will Wagner is going to follow right behind. And that's going to be a useful item, seeing as how they have seen golems here.
The fairy flute has its times, but I think our runners are probably hoping to find, well, some armor or at least a token. But yeah, they'll settle for the fairy flute, I guess.
Well, and the big thing with the fairy flute right now is that they don't have armor, and golems are actually at a pretty good chance of back attacking them or just straight up run blocking them at this point. So it's definitely a safety measure. It does cost quite a bit of time in order to use it, though.
Did want to point out, looking at the stats, we have one runner with 89 attack power and one runner with 87 attack power 10 minutes into a seed. That is pretty generous.
Yeah, the attack power has definitely been generous. HP is pretty average, I would say. And then you have, I would say, relatively low agility.
So CD checking the treasury now and is going to see the gold, the fighter's ring, and her stones of sunlight as well. We'll see if she checks the back and heads over to Garen.
And this is Will. Oh,
I believe they fully explored the Tantale continent, right? I don't think I saw any little nooks or crannies, so I believe they will have to head back to Garenham and explore Swamp Continent. So we'll see if CD decides to head back into the gold grind. We know she saw the silver shield, so we'll see if she decides to the gold grind, or if Will decides to try it again, or if they just decide to move on and go explore Swamp Continent.
That's definitely a possibility. I would be surprised if they did a gold grind here necessarily, just because there's still caves that we're probably going to be seeing, that we're going to be diving. So I'd say probably not on Will Wagner, but possibly on CD.
That is true. With gold and the treasure, we don't have to do a reverse gold grind through Garenham. We can do a more traditional gold grind by dying in a cave and heading back to the castle. But also, with the agility kind of hovering pretty low still, I don't know, they might decide they want that defensive help. I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, and just based off of what I've seen from cdinprov, she is a much more defensive player, it seems. So I would not be surprised to see her go for this gold grind here, especially once she sees the magic armor here at the weapon shop.
I think CD was about to use her Erdrick sword on those NPCs. They were being pretty terrible to her.
Yes, Rando is not the only thing that can curse you here. The random placement of the items, the NPCs are definitely the true boss sometimes. And WillWagnerMusic runs into our first instance of the Armored Knight. They do have Stop Spell and they have Baby Breath, so that's going to be a very nice luxury once they get a little bit more HP to actually be able to survive them.
Yeah, that's actually really nice to see for later on in the game. It doesn't do Will much good right now, because he's still toast, but Baby Breath and Stop Spell are two things you love to see on Armored Knights as you're trying to dive Charlock.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So in the community, the Armored Knight is referred to as the AK-47. And the AK-47, because they usually hit you like one, they have one of the highest attack powers of any random enemy, only outclassed by the Red Dragon. So they're going to be hitting for a ton of damage if they physically attack. And Boonpole 48 pointing out the true bosses are the ones who roll the seeds. And I definitely rolled a doozy last night, so I think that's definitely true.
Oh, you were responsible for that Z-Man seed.
No, actually I was not. So I rolled the seed for Thurwolf and Ali Gerbrap. That seed only ran... It was 2 hours and 10 minutes, but there was no heal until level 14, and the armor was locked behind an enemy that you needed heal to win.
Ugh, that sounds great. Almost as great as Will Wagner's level 7, which I forgot the numbers. They were that uninspiring. It looks like Will has found Mountain Cave, and he is diving it, so we'll see. He'll see what it gives him.
So in an interesting enemy set here in the Mountain Cave, So we got Drolls, and we've seen a Demon Knight as well. The Demon Knight having the highest dodge rate in the game can pose quite a problem, especially at these earlier levels, seeing as how they're going to be hitting hard as well.
So again, in Mountain Cave, Will's looking for mainly the... Oh, there it is, the Silver Harp. So he's got his 2 quest items. There might be a token in a chest. There might be a death necklace he might care about. He needs to open 2 more chests in order to die and initiate the gold grind if he's interested in that, or we'll see if he just... Oh, looks like he's going in.
Yeah, absolutely. The gold grind is just going to be super quick, and getting to Garenham is super safe, and then also getting over to Remoldar is also very safe.
Yeah, the only thing is it does kind of halt the exploration, but at this low agility and low defense power, probably worth it. So he's got 1 more chest to open up, and this Wraith decided to snooze him, and he needs to wake up here. There he goes.
So CD took an intentional death there. I'm not sure if she opened up enough chests. It looks like she did, though.
Yeah, I think she did. We'll know for sure in a second, but I think she's alright on the gold grind, and Will Wagner will probably be not too far behind with his gold. We could have dueling gold grinds here.
Yeah, once again, bringing up the point that you brought up earlier about how with this low agility, this extra defense is just going to be so helpful. So Silver Shield is going to give an extra 20 defense. And then also on top of that, if they go to Garenham and get the magic armor, that's all an extra 24 defense.
Yeah, that'll be welcome. Very welcome addition for our runners who have 15 and 17 defense power right now.
And the magic armor can actually help alleviate some of their MP usage, seeing as how their MP is pretty abysmal as well, seeing as how the magic armor will restore 1 HP per 4 steps. It also reduce hurt and hurt more damage by, I believe it's 1/3.
Well, Will death warping. I'm not sure how intentional that was because he ran a couple times, but either way, he's found himself at the castle, and I'm sure, regardless of intentions, he'll probably take this opportunity to get himself some gold and some defensive items.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think he was trying to death warp there. I think that the big thing for him there was just so that way he could check that last chest just to see if the death necklace is there. The token could possibly be there.
He had gotten it. It was a dragon scale.
Oh, okay.
CD is chat noting finding the Sword Magician. Once you have the gold grind activated, if you pull an item out of a chest, it will generate some interesting names, and the Sword Magician was what CD found.
So CD only opting for the full plate armor instead of the magic armor, which we haven't seen hurt more this seed. So that's a pretty good play, I would say. The magic armor definitely would offer a little bit more protection from things, and that HP regeneration can be nice. But I think that she was just going for speed there, and I can't say I disagree with it.
Yeah, I feel like the magic armor is a little overrated. You're going to get Erdrick's armor eventually and get all those other nice benefits. The defense power is the same for the full plate and the magic armor. And sure, the magic armor is nice, but the full plate is probably all they really need until they get that Erdrick's armor.
Yeah, and that's going to be the case for most seeds. I have had a couple of seeds where it seems like every enemy has hurt more, so that can be helpful. But at this HP, I think it's definitely well worth the risk.
So I think the magic armor was only in Garenham, right? Maybe CD hasn't seen it too? That's another possibility. But either way, she should be okay with full plate in this seed especially.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Will's finished his grinding. It looks like he's grinded up money for silver shield and magic armor. I'm pretty sure he saw that in Garanham, so he's going to go with the magic armor.
Yeah, he might have seen a... oh, never mind. He's got an Erdrift sword. I was going to say he might have saw a weapon that he wants, but that's definitely not going to be the case.
In fairness, I have done that before. I'm like, ooh, I can go get myself a flame sword. Let's go. Oh, yeah.
I think we've all had those moments.
So you'll sell me Erdrick's armor for 1 gold, huh? CD finding an armored knight and finding out about the stop spell and taking on the armored knight, it looks like.
Yeah, and this is a really good play for her. She has plenty of healing. She's dealing decent damage. It should take about 4 hits on average to kill him, and he is more than worth the experience, putting her 47 experience away from the next level. And she can't run away. That's a great point as well. Thank you for Sports Jeff for pointing that out.
Oh, she's like 1 in 6 to run away, but no, that's a really good move, especially once she saw a stop spell. It's much better to take the experience, especially these lower levels, than to try your meager run attempts.
Beta Strep pointing out that if stop spell connects, you're a bit boned though. And I would say that I agree with that. It would definitely depend upon stop spell versus breath, for sure. Damage rolls would be dependent as well, things of that nature. But I think that the Armor Knight is a fairly safe bet every time you run into one.
Look at CD going over here. She's found out the blue dragon has hurt, and she's just on just destroying all the Charlock enemies she can find. She's going to have a really good chance taking this out. Oh, maybe not. She's trying to run now. But this is shaping up to maybe be an okay Charlock dive. The Armored Knights have some pretty weak abilities. The blue dragon has the hurt spell. This might be okay.
Yeah, that's 2 Charlock enemies that are fairly safe. So it might be one of those seats where it's a fairly easy-going seed. The Axe Knight also having hurt.
Man, I mean, that's got to be wonderful to see when you're sitting on 30 agility on level 7. That's got to be amazing to see all these Charlock enemies with the weak skills. Looking ahead, too, this might play into a runner's hands if they want to try to grind a level on the way down. That might be a viable option here with all these Charlock enemies just throwing out hurts and stop spells. Might be really easy to pick up experience and gain a level on the way down. And speaking of which, CD picking up level 80.
Well, there's some agility, but not much else.
Yeah, these last couple levels have been pretty uninspiring. It's probably a good thing we got the sword, and good thing we got our defensive gear.
So this is what's going to make the magic armor a little bit better. Walking through these swamps, WillWagnerMusic is taking a ton of damage. It's not exactly mitigated, but it's definitely lessened with that small amount of HP regeneration that he's getting from that armor. And so he's actually saving a little bit of MP by doing so.
CD taking out a wyvern and really taking out some of these higher value enemies, and has built up a nice little experience lead here.
Yeah, absolutely. And here is the Metal Slime, one of the most lucrative enemies. Very, very difficult to kill, though, as they have a high chance of running away, and they have a lot of defense. So, pointing out in chat, Basp33 had pointed out that he likes the new layout for the racing skins. So shout out to Captain Uhu, who was the one who designed and put this together. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because my pronunciation is terrible.
So we are still searching. Ooh, CD has found a cave. I was saying we're still searching for some more caves, and there's the Rainbow Drop Cave. That's where our runners will take all their quest items to get them redeemed for the Rainbow Drop, but CD has no use for it now as she's still a couple of quest items.
Well, unless she really wanted to spend the time to have the jerk kick her out.
Find out exactly why he's called the jerk. Ooh, CD might be in like a dedicated explore mode. She passed on that Druid Lord that I feel like would have been a nice kill, so she might be trying to find... We still have a couple towns left. There's Hawksness, which has a spike tile where they might find their armor or token, and there's Garanham, which has coordinates that could lead to our armor or token. At this point, with the flute already being found, if the man in Cantling gives coordinates, you know they're going to be required, so... It could also open up things like preemptive princess rescue, maybe? Will's unfortunately headed back to the castle, finding out rogue scorpions are mean. Maybe?
So I don't think that that having the coordinates is going to prompt the runners to just do a preemptive princess rescue. The reason that I say that is because we have not actually seen Hawksness yet. And as such, we don't know if there's anything on that search tile there. But we did find coal. There we go. Good call, Rye Guy.
Yeah, and Will's opened up Mountain Cave already, so the chances of the token being in a chest are lower. A token could only be in, bonus cave, tablet cave, or grave, so it's kind of looking more likely that there might be something in both search spots, maybe. So anyway, Will passed on the princess, though, so he's just gonna keep exploring. But, I don't know, maybe. Is that another? Wow, that map near Sparkle is pretty amazing. I didn't notice the Sparkover Island above the set of Sparkover Islands near Sparkle. That's incredible. Sadly for CD, it houses a blue dragon that finally takes her out. But she got some really good exploration in on low resources, so she saw a lot of the map.
Yeah, absolutely. So the big thing here right now, with where the token can be, is there's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I believe there's 9 or 10 chests that the token can possibly be in at this point. And there's 3 search spots. One of them is dead. So we have a 1 in 3 chance of the token being on a search spot, I guess. And then we also have the 1 out of 9 chance that the token could be in a chest.
So, I think Lorgon's in chat. Lorgon and Mr. Holmes completely schooled my stats knowledge. There's apparently a whole bunch of intricate statistics that go into figuring out the probabilities of token being on the overworld given how many chests you've opened up. Also noting in chat that looked like Stone Men had DL2 breaths, so maybe there's one Charlock enemy that is a little bit mean. I really want to try to remember. I can't remember the end results of it. I don't have it up right now, but I feel like it was something like if you had 9 chests still to open, if I remember the formula correctly, you're looking at something like a 2/3 chance of the flute being on the overworld or something along those lines. I may not be remembering that correctly. Like I said, maybe Lorgon can, if he's around, can correct me on that. But it's kind of looking like we might need both the Coordinates and Hoxus at this point. Will Wagner took a shot at that armored knight and looked like he got a pretty abysmal roll and just decided to run from it. Meanwhile, CD picked up level 9, is continuing to just smash enemies. Will Wagner not too far behind. He is just now going to get his level 9. Which, again, has all the power. And finally, some magic. Was that a yeah, Laura, was that a fire transition for Hurtmore? That's awesome. I've never seen that before. That is really cool. I didn't know this did that. I don't ever think I've ever seen that fire transition before. Props to our tracker for just showing it to me over and over and over again. I appreciate it. I like it. Well, Wagner taking out a Star Wyvern too, so our runner is able to take out some of the Charlock enemies they're finding in this desert. CD looks like she's doing a little more exploring, and Will Wagner looks like he's doing a little dedicated grind here to hopefully get some stats to help him survive more swamp content exploration.
Yeah, we've definitely built up a little more MP. So, grinding on enemies like the Armored Knight, things of that nature, are gonna go fairly well.
Yeah, definitely. With that 19 power, I think Will Wagner's using that to his advantage. His attack power is up at 110, so he can definitely hit those Armored Knights for a little.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably the biggest thing here, shout out to cdinprov for checking the spark over spot, is going to be, I think that exploration is going to win out a little bit over grinding right now, just because there's still a couple of things that they need. So, who knows, though? It's always a little hard to tell. Will Wagner is going to have to do a lot less grinding later on. But as we talked about, most of these Charlock enemies are just super friendly. So doing a late game grind might be the play here. Who knows? Only time will tell.
Yeah, and with Hurtmore showing up, the Armored Knights, they're pretty fast to dispose of. You could go a Hurtmore and attack, or just attack like Will was doing. You can dispatch of a Star Wyvern real quick with Hurtmore, and Garen Ham in the inn are right here for a quick refill. The only thing I always wonder about this, just in general, if you can explore and get experience at the same time, that's obviously the fastest way to do it. So by sticking around here, Will's getting the experience, but he's not getting the exploration. If CD can explore and pick up experience, she might be able to gain an advantage that way. If you can get experience as you're grinding, as you're exploring.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where the balance that I was talking about with a later game grind might be the right play, because these enemies that Will is fighting right now, we're going to see some of them in Charlock. So if we see some of them in Charlock, we're going to be picking up relatively the same amount of experience with a very similar encounter rate.
Right, and you're right, it's a balance, right? The flip side of that is if you grind, you get stronger, your exploration goes faster, you die less. So it's always a balance, and it's very hard to tell which strategy is the correct one. So it'll be really interesting to see if our runners end up converging on Charlock at the same time, or if one strategy proves to be faster than the other one.
Well, I think that this is going to be one of those cases where it's literally just going to come down to the wire. Who starts the Dragon Lord fight first? Because both of these runners have a very good understanding of when it's time to go fight the Dragon Lord. And seeing all these enemies being pretty nice, we might see a grind on the way down. So, who knows? I think that that's going to be the definitive pivotal moment.
CD's given us a lot of pretty pivotal moments, I'd say. She searched the Sparkover Bridge, she made use of the open fairy water shop in Breckenary. The only thing with CD is she's gone to a more exploration strategy. She hasn't really found anything yet. Unfortunately, her exploration has led her to a bunch of dead ends. So if Will gets luckier with his exploration, of course, he could use that to pull ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw some stats there. Our agility at level 11, now at a staggering 57. MP at 62, that's a decent increase. And then we didn't gain too much in the way of strength. I think it was 10 points, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, the stats are definitely looking a lot better on 11. 11 gave us the things that we really needed. Will, using this grind just really effectively, though, I gotta say. He is shooting up there. He's level 11 and on his way to 12. He's just mowing through these enemies in this desert.
Yeah, and it's definitely possible that we can see a dive into Charlock as early as 13 or so. I mean, with the way that the stats have been progressing, we really don't need to run away from anything. So agility is not a concern, seeing as how 3 of the Charlock enemies spam spells that are easy to avoid. So it's going to be all dependent upon exploration at this point, and I think that WillWagnerMusic has realized that with that big stat gain at level 11.
Yeah, Will is definitely out and on the move, so he's gonna get his exploration going, and we'll see if CD can catch up as far as experience, and we'll see if Will can catch up in terms of exploration. We are still hunting for, again, like we were saying before, 2 search spots. We're still searching for Cantlin, and we're still searching for Hawksness. Oh, Will's found something. He's found Hawksness. We'll find out about this search spot. He's got heal mores, he's got hurt mores, he's got all the attack power. This spike tail enemy should not present much of a problem. Yes, even the red dragon should be fine. Red dragon with stop spell.
Wow. So that is insane to see. That is our 4th Charlock enemy that has friendly spells. Now, granted, the stop spell did hit, but WillWagnerMusic just really killed it. So Erdrick's token on the search spot in Hawksness, which means that Erdrick's armor, which has to be on a search spot, is indeed on the coordinates. So we will be meeting coordinates here.
Yeah, once you get the armor, that red dragon might be a really good place to go grind. I don't know, the desert outside Garanham was pretty good too, but that's a guaranteed 255 if you have the armor and that red dragon starts stop spelling you, with the armor stop spell nullified, of course.
I would say that grinding Armored Knights would be probably more lucrative, because not only do they have less HP in terms of their HP range, but also on top of that, the biggest thing that's going to come into it is that that Red Dragons, he only cast Stop Spell once, but it did hit, so we don't know whether or not it's going to be likely to cast Stop Spell like the Armored Knight has. And so it's going to take less hits to kill, and it's going to be a little bit safer as well. And it'll be quicker because it's susceptible to hurt more.
Yeah, we're not quite to the dedicated grind phase yet, but this is another one where I always go back and forth. The Red Dragon does have the advantage of being a guaranteed encounter, and if that stop spell is cast a lot, he might not require many resources and many refills. But like you say, the Armored Knight is very fast to kill with Hurtmore, and Garanham's right next to the Armored Knight. So if we do get to a dedicated grind phase, that might be another interesting thing to look out for. I say if because we might just pick up all the levels we need looking around for stuff, but...
Yeah, especially with cdinprov about to skyrocket to level 11. And so level 12... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. At this point, we're really searching for 2 things. We need the Staff of Rain, or Harp Cave, so we can trade in that Silver Harp. cdinprov hasn't found the Silver Harp, has she? She still needs to find Mountain Cave. Will Wagner's hunting for the Staff of Rain cave, so he can turn in his Silver Harp for the Staff of Rain, then he'll be all ready to go get his Rainbow Drop. And we're looking for Cantlin to get those coordinates to go get our Erdrick's armor.
Yeah, absolutely. And with how windy this map is, it could be a while before CD picks up that harp. I know that Will Wagner picked it up pretty quickly after leaving Garanham, so it's going to be somewhere close by. But she just hasn't explored in that area.
CD getting the wonderful news of the 18-18-23 level. I'm sure that'll help make her feel better about the 2 strength or whatever on that level.
Yeah, and strength isn't really what these runners are going to be looking for at this point, I don't think. I think that they want to see minimal strength gains, because if you feel like you're behind in this situation right here, you want to see low stat gains, so that way that you know that your opponent is still going through the same thing. So you still have time to explore, to find the things that you need to find. So that actually probably puts her mind a little bit at ease when she's going to see that smaller strength gain off of level 12 as well.
Yeah, bringing that up, I'm not sure which runner feels like they'd be ahead or behind. It feels like this has been a really, really fast seed, and things have just been coming at you really quick. They may not even have any idea. CD finding Mountain Cave, so she's about to get her silver harp. So that'll help her exploration.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm referring to is just kind of putting yourself in the position of the runner. You don't know where WillWagnerMusic is if you're cdinprov, And with the way that the seed is going, and with how much of an accomplished runner Will Wagner is, it's got to be in the back of your head. Man, I might be behind. I mean, things have just gotten thrown at us left and right, and we've just gotten such big stat gains. Where is he? Or where is she in Will Wagner's case? So that's got to be in the back of these runners' minds at some point, just because of how kind the seed has been. To answer Bass, but that was going to be the Demon Knight.
So I'll be interested, too, to see if CD does continue down into the second floor of the Mountain Cave. She does not need to do a gold grind, so we'll see if she just outsides here, if she finishes the... Looks like she's going to finish it. She's still hunting. She doesn't know where the token is yet. And like I said, I guess Death Necklace is the only other thing she might be interested in. So looks like she's gonna search the second floor, I think.
So, Sports Jeff, does a dream start like this mentally help the more or less experienced player? Well, so there's going to be a lot of things that go into it. I definitely tend to agree with Z-Man, saying that it mentally helps the less experienced runner. Just because the less experienced runner is like, oh, thank God, that's one less thing that I have to find. That's one less cave that I have to potentially go to. Things of that nature. Whereas a more experienced runner is comfortable just looking for things. They have the idea of grinding and exploration, and the combination of both underneath of their belt already. So a dream start like this to experienced runners is just going to be so much... It's going to be enthusiastic, but it's not going to be as enthusiastic as someone who's played the randomizer for a lot less time, just because they don't have all the experience that these players here have.
Yeah, and as we were saying that, Will Wagner picks up 13, and we can see on the tracker there, 13 wasn't the best level ever numbers-wise, but all of a sudden a bunch of his stats are starting to get into range there. We saw a whole bunch of color pop up, so Will Wagner's kind of getting in that area where once he gets his harp turned in, once he gets his Erdrick's armor, might think about it.
Yeah, and this comes back to kind of what I was talking about a little bit earlier, about how WillWagnerMusic has the knowledge of, okay, we've gotten really good stats, it might be an early seed, but he's also seen a lot of Charlock enemies that have just done nothing but be easy on him. So he might be thinking in the back of his head, okay, let's get all the exploration done, get what little grinding done I can, and then we'll go down.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been saying things like Jet Seed and Dream Start. I like Beta in chat. Yeah, I kind of agree with Beta. I see a Dream Start like this, and I go, oh my god, faster, 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 faster. But we still haven't found Staff of Rain Cave, and we still haven't found Cantlin. And with this windy map, if those are in some really distant trolley location, and if CD were to find them on, say, a screen or two from now, or she's exploring around, that experience lead could shrink pretty fast if she gets into a dedicated grind.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially seeing as how that gives her direct access to the jerk, which she has already found, and that just leads her to have so much that she can do. And here's the use of the fairy flute. I believe it's 8 seconds to use the fairy flute to guarantee put a golem to sleep. But she definitely looks like she's trying to conserve resources just in full explore.
And I'll point out, Will Wagner used Radiant in the Swamp Cave. I think he might be doing a preemptive. He knows the coordinates have to have the armor now, so I think he's taking this opportunity, to check that spike tile and go get himself a princess. The princess, when you take her back home, will give you an item called Gwaylin's Love, which will tell you your coordinates on the map, so you can use that to help you find the search spot, the overworld search spot item. And with main continent being so small, there's a really good chance the item is on Swamp Continent and will not be countable. And speaking of which, over on CD's side, there's a town and a cave, so it looks like Cantlin and maybe the Staff of Rain Cave. CD hasn't got in yet, but we'll see.
So it can either be the Staff of Rain Cave, it can be the Grave, or it can be the Stones of Sunlight Cave. So she's got or I don't think we've seen Tablet yet either, actually.
Yeah,
so if you're looking at it realistically, she's got a 1 in 4 chance. But I think we've seen all the other towns. Yeah, so this has to be Cantlin. And so she will be going and picking up her coordinates, and looks like she might be getting an early armor before that fight with the Red Dragon to claim the token. So this is a huge advantage for CD right now.
I really enjoy it when I have to walk those barrier tiles and realize I have to do division to figure out how many steps I can take. It's not just 2 or...
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, they look like they're going to be nice coordinates, and the 87 dropped in. So those are almost certainly going to be on Swamp Continent, almost certainly going to require a princess rescue. So Will be in good shape once he finds his coordinates, if he takes the princess back.
Yeah, wow, those are definitely some very, very interesting coordinates. I saw the 4 and I was sitting there going, oh my lord, the seed is just going to be so nice to them. But unfortunately, it's not meant to be. This is a princess required seed. Fortunately, the princess is not going to take too much time to rescue, seeing as how she's right at home.
Up2NG brought it up a little while ago in chat, but I'll reiterate here. I've mentioned the Death Necklace a couple times as being a thing you might be interested in treasure chests. The Death Necklace will give you plus 10 attack power at a cost of a quarter of your HP. It's typically not something you want to put on, because of course your HP will drop too low and you won't be able to fight the Dragon Lord. But if you get up into the 130s, 130 is the exact cutoff, I believe, you can put that Death Necklace on and still have enough to survive 2 Dragon Lord breaths. So 130 is kind of the magical mark for HP, and they're getting very close to that. So they may start wanting to maybe start interested in a Death Necklace, which, by the way, could be in Charlock, so there's no telling that's even in the grave or not. CD, by the way, also found the Tablet Cave, and she's going to go see what her one item in there is. Still looking for that token, so it could be in a chest. I mean, we know it's not, but she doesn't know that. Really hoping she would have found the Death Necklace there, but CD pulls a Fairy Water instead.
So Beta Strap pointing out in the chat, I heard it's 129 now, and he is absolutely correct. So the way that the game programs that 25% is that it rounds the any decimals that would come from that 25% down to the next whole number. So when you look at 129, 10% of that would be 12 rounded off. So 12 plus 12 is 24, and then plus 6, which is half of 12, would give you 30 HP that it would remove, giving you a total of, I believe it's 99 HP. But it's a little weird how it works, because at 129, I believe it gives you exactly 96 HP. Lord of the Synth pointing out there would be no math, but this is Dragon Warrior. Math is always in Dragon Warrior.
I'll point out that I throw the Death Necklace on at, 125 or 126, but I'm also been told that I'm a fool, so what are you gonna do? It makes it a little more exciting, we'll say.
Absolutely. I've done it a couple of times myself, actually. There was a seed where I was probably... I felt like I was super far behind. I was playing against both Nest Cardinality and Mr. Holmes, and we had 126 HP or something like that, and I threw on the Death Necklace, and they took first and second, and then Jay Coper beat me by 2 seconds after that. So if I would not have done that with the Death Necklace, I most certainly would not have won, and most certainly would not have placed as well as I did, even though I really wasn't that far behind. It was actually a really nice play. It's definitely a risk-reward thing, and I definitely had cases where it has not worked out at all.
Yeah, and that's something I think we should keep in mind in general, is that, the tracker has all these really nice colors, give us an idea of when players are in range, but there's no, set, you must have this or must have that. You can throw the Death Necklace on at 126 and have it be a great play. You can go on the Dragon Lord with 80 strength and make it work somehow. Maybe not 80 strength, but, it is possible. There's no, absolutely defined, you must have this to win.
Yeah, and a lot of that is attributed to how damage works in the game, and I won't go too far into it, but you basically have a range, and we'll go over damage range when we talk a little bit more about what we're looking for the Dragon Lord a little bit later. But that range is affected by the Death Necklace in such a way that it can be just enough just to push you over that threshold. To where you can potentially win if you get decent rolls. And sometimes it doesn't work out, and sometimes it does. It just kind of depends upon how the game likes you.
So Will has found Caitlin. He's going to get his coordinates, but he still has the princess, so he's going to have to go back home to return her anyway, and then he'll be able to go search for his armor.
Yeah, and I really like this play. The reason why I really like this play is no door. Okay. Sorry, I was just reading what Bass was talking about there. But Cantillon, so what he's hoping for is he's hoping for the god coordinates. He's hoping for great coordinates, so that way he just returns back to Tantagel, and then can just walk to the coordinates. He grabbed the princess in case he can't do that.
But with Princess right underneath Tantagel, wouldn't you want to take the princess back home, so in case the coordinates were right near Caitlin, you could just go pick them up when you got the coordinate?
See, and that would make sense, but we know right where the princess is. We know right where Tantagel is. At that point in time where he got the princess, he did not know where Caitlin was. So it's all kind of playing off of what you know and what can be where.
Alright, well, CD is going to go get a princess. We're going to have dual princess rescues, and we're going to have pretty much dual picking up the armors, I think. They're going to get the armor really close to each other, aren't they? CD grabbing 13 as a consolation, it's not a consolation prize, bonus prize.
Yeah, and she must be breathing a sigh of relief with us approaching that 1 hour mark and seeing that strength is just a little bit too low for go mode.
So yeah, both the runners are gonna use these use this Gwaelin's Love to go find the armor, and then it's pretty much a race to CD still needs a token, huh? CD needs to find Hawksnest. We're still hunting for the Staff of Raincave though. That's Will's next objective for sure. Is to after the armor is to find where he can trade in that heart.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of talking a little bit about grinding and things of that nature. I would not be surprised if we see both of our runners decide to grind in Charlock.
You know, this seed actually has a lot of options for where to grind. The setter outside Cantlin was nice. The Red Dragon and Hawksnest, you could make a case for that, I feel like. Heck, probably not the Golem and Swamp. I guess that's not a great idea. But there's going to be a lot of choices. Charlock is close to the castle, though, so that would make sense, too.
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing that makes these kinds of seeds difficult, is picking what is the most optimal grind. What is going to get me the most amount of experience the quickest? Because, like we were talking about earlier, that Red Dragon encounter, that is a guaranteed encounter. Every time you step on that tile, boom, Red Dragon, 255 experience, if you can kill it. Whereas on the other hand, right outside of Garenham, we have Star Wyverns, we have Armored Knights, I saw Blue Dragons over there. Those are all fairly easy enemies to tackle with this attack power and HP, and you have a town right nearby. So it's a delicate balance between which one is better here. I would say that those are probably the two most optimal grinds that these two players have seen so far.
So Will finding out that after you get out of Garenham on Swamp Continent, it's a little bit of a trek to the coordinates, it seems like. Most ideal in his world would be if the coordinates took him to or nearby the Staff of Raincave, but he's got a little bit of walking to get there. Those coordinates look like he's got to go very far north, I think, right? Or south?
Yeah, he's 100 south of the castle, so he is definitely very, very, very far. So when he's actually way too far north. Okay. So he needs to walk a couple of steps up because the map can only be 120 by 120. So searching up here will actually allow him to essentially warp the map. Man, he is so close to it.
In the meantime, I think CD is wandering off in the direction of Hawksnest, isn't she? I think Hawksnest was somewhere out there, so she might be about to catch up exploration-wise.
Yep, Hawksnest is just north of where she is, I believe.
Yeah, again, the good news for WillWagnerMusic is that if he does have a long walk to the armor, he's got to explore for Staff of Raincave anyway, so he can still hope that his long walk takes him by that cave he needed anyhow.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, you're trying to knock out as many things as you can, and that Rogue Scorpion's a nice pickup for another 3, 1, 1, and 11.
You know, that 11 AMP makes a pretty big difference, though. We're suddenly up to 9 heal mores, and with high HP, that attack power's not that low.
Yeah, I would definitely say that this is doable. This is definitely doable with decent damage rolls. Right now, with 80 defense power, the Dragon Lord can potentially do more than 48 damage to you with the physical damage. So it's gonna be basically playing the odds. Do we dive now? Do we grind down another level and hope that we get just a little bit more attack power, a little more MP? But at this point in time, I would say that these runners could not burn a heal more if they got down to the Dragon Lord at this point.
Well, actually, at this point, looking at the damage range and everything, you need on average 17 attacks. So that's way too many doubles to expect. But so you're going to attack things and get some experience as you're looking around for the armor, as you're looking around for the Staff of Rain Cave. But you give it a level or two, you give it a couple thousand experience that you might pick up as you're going to get an armor, as you're going to get a Staff of Rain, and we might be talking.
Yeah, absolutely. They just they don't have enough. So to answer Simbu9's question in chat, so Erdrick's armor does boost your defense a little bit higher. So the defense points that we're going to be looking for at this point is we're going to be looking at 86 defense. 86 defense means that the Dragon Lord, with his Fire Breath and with his physical attacks, can do no more than 48 damage. And so that's when you can start looking at whether or not you're going to be able to strike the Dragon Lord twice without being able to heal more or not, is when you start minimalizing that physical damage range versus his breath damage range, because the Erdrick's armor already does that for you, and it's the only thing in the game that can do that. So that's why defense is so important. The magic armor gives you 24 defense points, I believe it is, and Erdrick's armor gives you 28. So it's only by 4 points, so we're just a little bit below that threshold.
So just to interrupt for a second, CD just took out the Red Dragon. Hawksness has the token, has picked up level 14, is suddenly only 200 and change away in experience from Will. Will's got maybe a little bit of a lead towards the coordinates, but I mean, that's all that's separating them now. They are even up on experience, they are even up on exploration. They're both headed to the armor, they're both looking for the Staff of Rain Cave, so we've got a really good finish coming up here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is super exciting to watch. And I was kind of wondering about this at the beginning of the seed, just kind of seeing how things were going. And we talked a little bit about the difference in pathing, and now they've just kind of converged together. Will Wagner just a hair bit ahead, so that grind really saved him some time here. But not as much time as CD, spending all that time exploring, because now she literally has the exact same items that he does and is just moments away from catching up on experience.
Will's picked up his armor and he's got a cave in sight. It is... oh, it's back to the Rainbow Drop. I didn't realize the coordinates were right there, but he can't use Rainbow Drop Cave yet because he has not found that Staff of Rain Cave. Hold that thought. Oh no, he still has not found that Staff of Rain Cave. Will Wagner noping out of that dark cave, uninterested in anything in a chest. Again, that death necklace is still looming out there somewhere, and as several people in chat have pointed out, this might be winnable in a level or two with the death necklace, but Will Wagner uninterested in that dark cave.
Yeah, and I think that at this point, he's probably just trying to get the exploration done. Because coming back to talking about how generous this seed has been. This seed has been so generous to these runners, and these runners have just had so much fun with this seed that they gotta be starting to wonder in the back of their head: am I behind? Do I have time to go and try to? Do I try to go and get the death necklace, or do I try to get that last key item so that way that I can just finish the game? And they know where those key items have to be. And so I would not be surprised if neither of these runners dove into any caves.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Maybe if it was the grave, you could check the top three really fast, but he found little cave alley up here, cave desert, and he's got his Staff of Rain. He knows where the Harp Cave is. He can get the Rainbow Drop, and he'll be in go mode. He is going to check for the Death Necklace here in Bonus Cave and not find it.
So Tablet and the Grave are the only things that remain that can hold the Death Necklace outside of Charlock. So we have, 7 chests in Charlock? So we have 7 chests versus 6 chests. So I think that we're going to see Will Wagner play the odds, and he's just going to go to Charlock, and he's going to look for it there. I think that's definitely going to be the play that we'll see here.
So your math was right, but in a little weird way. CD did check Tablet, and there was a Fairy Water there, but Z-Man in chat reminded me of something I forgot. no one checked the Remolder chest way back when, so it could be there. That's the other chest they haven't looked at yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't see CD check tablet, so...
Yeah, but there are still... That is the correct number of chests, though. And yeah, I would not mind checking the Death Necklace for on the way down. It's always a delicate balance with the Death Necklace, too, though, because with 122 HP, 84 defense power, you're going to get some doubles. And are the doubles, giving up the doubles, worth the 10 extra? It's always kind of a little give and take.
So let's talk a little bit about why the Death Necklace is important to the Dragon Lord fight. So the biggest thing that the Death Necklace allows in the randomizer is obviously that it gives you 10 more attack power. But what does that mean? So the way that damage is calculated is that the hero deals damage to enemies in ranges, and you have a minimum end of the range and a maximum end of the range, and we know how to calculate that. So essentially what it is you take your attack power minus the defense of the enemy, and then you're going to divide that number by 2. So if we're talking about the Dragon Lord, we can take our attack power, which is 127 right now, and we subtract 100 off of it. That goes goodbye. So now we're at 27. So now we're going to divide it by 2, and talking about how the game handles division in decimals, it always rounds down to the nearest whole number. So that's going to put our maximum damage at 13. So 13, and then our minimum damage, the way that we get that is we divide our maximum damage in half. So our maximum damage is 13, our minimum damage is 6 right now. If we put the Death Necklace on, it's going to give us 10 extra attack power. So 10 extra attack power is going to raise your maximum up to 18, but it's going to it's going to increase your minimum by only 2 points, bringing it to 8. So it's 8 to 18.
Yeah, and just to wrap that up, I'll just add in here, on 127 attack, you'd expect about 17 attacks to win. 137, you'd only expect to need about 12, but that is on average. Also, as we're going over that, Will Wagner decided to grind in Charlock, so he's into his dedicated grind. And unfortunately for CD, she was running low on resources and was unable to get to the armor or Staff of Rain Cave, took a death. And so now Will, making it to the dedicated grind phase faster, is going to pick up an experience lead here. He's going to open up an experience lead. That said, CD's not too far off of it. She's going to be in grind and go very shortly, and it's just going to take one failed dive or, failing to run from a stone man a few times, and we could see them right back neck and neck.
Yeah, for sure. But the thing here is that Will Wagner is one red dragon away from another level. This enemy will seal it to where he only needs one more enemy to the next level. So we'll see what these stats gains give, and then we'll take a look and see whether or not he's going to try to dive.
CD is right there for her armor, so she's about to get the armor, and it's going to come down to what 15 has, and it's going to come down to how fast CD can find that Staff of Rain Cave and get into grind and go. It'd be really interesting if we have to go to 16 and CD picks a different grind spot to see if maybe she can catch up that way too.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that Charlock is...
Oh, that's not a good 15. Charlock is not bad, though.
No, 129 is pretty good. Still only at 9 heal mores, though. We do have that enticing 130 HP. So it'll be interesting to see what Will decides to do with it. It looks like he's continuing to grind and play it safe.
So yeah, on 15, your only hopes of winning would be pulling a Death Necklace out of the Treasury, and they haven't seen Grave. They might have forgotten about the Remolder chest, but they haven't seen the Remolder chest either. So that's maybe at best a 50-50 proposition. On 129 attack power, you're looking at 15 attacks and 9 heal mores. You need 4 doubles. I mean, that's very iffy.
Yeah, really
Sorry, possible, but iffy.
Yeah, really super iffy, I would say. Probably the biggest thing that would entice somebody to dive is if they had that 86 defense threshold, because that would pretty much guarantee some doubles there. 130 with the Dragon Lord only able to do 48 damage. That's a pretty safe fight. That's a pretty safe pocket. But Will Wagner is going for a little more strength, a little more defense, and definitely some more MP here.
CD's got the harp, she's going to get the rainbow drop, and she's going to go into a grind. To answer Simbu's question, the reason they grind at the top is, well, just because they can get out faster and I guess refill or death warp, or there are a number of reasons. Why isn't he searching for the death necklace? Possible he's not interested in the death necklace, he's just going to get another level. Again, you can do this with doubles as well and not lose the HP and just get double attacks. And he doesn't know for sure if it's in the treasury, so he may not want to rely on that. There is, again, the grave, there's Remolder chest, there's a couple other places it could be, vanilla chest, so he may not want to just take that risk, he may just want to pick up the extra level.
Yeah, and especially with Red Dragons, Armor Knights, all being on this floor, the grind here is pretty solid, I would say. I wouldn't say that it's the fastest grind. I think that you're actually right, Guy. I don't see too much damage coming from the Red Dragons, so that Red Dragon grind and Hawksness might not be a bad idea, seeing as how Hawksness is relatively close to Garenham. But who knows? This encounter rate is really getting the best of WillWagnerMusic. He's definitely gaining experience relatively quickly, but this encounter rate just is not cooperating.
CD picked up the rainbow drop and is heading in the general direction of Hawksness before a stats check, so we might get to see this. Up to NG making a very good point too. The other thing about the death necklace we haven't mentioned is that it will curse you, minor detail, and when you're cursed, if you die, the king will kick you out. But there's 2 towns right near the castle, so you don't really care about being cursed, you don't care if the king kicks you out, you just wander a few steps over and stay at the inn, and all is well. So that's a good point that Up to NG made in chat there.
So probably the only thing that I would add to that is with those 2 towns being right there, the only time that death is really gonna come into play here is during grinding, and obviously he's elected not to put on the death necklace while grinding. So because you really don't want to die during the Dragon Lord fight regardless, because it's just a huge time loss. So I definitely think that you're right, that WillWagnerMusic is just going to pass up on that death necklace.
Oh, also remember, they don't have it yet. But also, yeah, sometimes it's just gonna be a little tricky if, like, if Swamp Cave is underneath Tantagle and Charlock's on the other continent. If you have to go through Swamp Cave under Tantagle to get back to the Dragon Lord, then you might not want to be cursed. But that is not the case here.
And it looks like CD is deciding to go into Charlock as well. It looks like
that looked like a pretty uninspiring 16. It might still be enough, but it looked pretty uninspiring.
Yeah, no agility gained. We did bump up to 10 heal mores, so a little more doable now, especially with that 132. So hopefully, it looks like WillWagnerMusic is going to an inn. I didn't happen to look at what his current stats are, but we might be seeing a dive here.
Yeah, so I think Beta hit it on the head in chat there. If you could just walk up to the Dragon Lord right now, you'd be pretty good shape. You would need on average 14 attacks. You've got 10 heal mores. You got your first and your last. You got 132 HP. You're going to get a double somewhere, maybe even right off the start. So you're in pretty good shape if you could walk up and talk to the Dragon Lord and attack him. The problem is you can't do that. You have to get through 7 floors. I think it's 7 floors of Charlock, roughly 20-some encounters on average, and you have 69 agility. So getting the resources at the bottom could be a pain. That said, their defense is decent. They have a lot of HP, so they can take some hits. But that's going to be the real issue here, is getting to the Dragon Lord, I think.
And actually, I don't think that's really going to be as much of an issue. We've seen on this floor Armored Knights. But with this agility, they're a favorite to run away from green dragons. They're a favorite to run away from star wyverns. So the only two enemies they're going to have to beat through on these first two floors are red dragons and armored knights. Red dragons and armored knights have stop spell and cast it with some form of frequency, so they're going to be able to heal most of that damage off. And then as you go lower into the floors, they start seeing axe knights, werewolves, things of that nature. They're still a favorite to run away from those enemies. So I really don't think that the dive is going to be that much of an issue here.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I think Will is absolutely correct to go for it on 16, but I think that's with this dive, I think that's the main concern, is getting the resources to the bottom. Like I said, if you could just talk to Dragonlord, I don't think you'd have any problem fighting the Dragonlord. You'd go into that fight really happy with full resources. So that's what he's going to be worried about here, is just trying to get them down there. If he can get them down there, he's going to be a heavy favorite, I think.
Green dragons have hurt as well. So that is 4 Charlock enemies that have weak abilities.
Yeah, this just keeps getting better and better, huh?
This is probably the most friendly Charlock that I've seen in quite a while.
And thanks to the commentator's curse, we've got a triple run block to a Stoneman coming up. I hope not for Will, but CD picking up 15. Did she pick? Sorry, I missed it. She's going for the golems in Swamp. That's an interesting strategy. The Fairy Flute. If you get good Fairy Flute luck, you can take out a golem fairly quickly. But that Fairy Flute is an 8-second investment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that here with the HP that they have, just going straight for just beating through golems and then healing in between the fights is a much quicker and efficient way to do it. And if you die and return to the king, you turn back to the king, but the 8 seconds that you have to use every time that you're using the Fairy Flute, it kind of balances itself out, I would say here.
Will is fighting things on the way down. I wonder if he's worried about agility or if he wants to pick up 17. I mean, I imagine he wants to pick up 17, right? He might think this is too marginal and wants little insurance level here.
Yeah, especially seeing as how the last 2 levels have been really unimpressive. The only stat that's really seen a significant boost is MP, and even with that MP, it is still a little marginal here. Things can always go wrong. You can roll a bunch of minimum rolls on the Dragonlord and just not quite have enough. The Dragonlord can back attack you, and there goes one of your attacks. There's so many things that can go wrong here, but hopefully that does not happen here.
Yeah, to answer up to NG, Beta's right. He skipped Grave and he skipped Remulder chest. There's a few chests outside of Charlock he doesn't know about. And I will point out, as far as getting 17 goes, if you get just one attack power and go up to 132, your damage range shoots up to an 8 to 16. That's +1 to your min and max roll. So that could be huge to get just one more little power. And obviously, if 17 gives you more, you're through the roof happy. But even just one power could be important here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Will Wagner is definitely worried about agility here. He's spamming sleep on these stonemen, which interestingly enough is the only enemy that's really susceptible to sleep. And then sleep gives you an instant run away from an enemy. So good use of sleep there. He still has managed to make it here with all 10 of his heal mores intact. I'd say that he's pretty safe here.
Yeah, Stonemen are the only enemy that really is, that are hurt more, that can really do damage. He's fighting through this red dragon, because I guess he doesn't trust his agility. I don't blame him for that. He is down to only 81 MP, though, so if he uses another sleep, or uses another anything, he's going to lose that 10th heal more.
Yeah, and I think he does still have some herbs on hand as well, which ideally we'd want to save for the first phase of the Dragonlord fight. But I think before he burns that 10th heal more, he's definitely going to use some herbs.
And he's creeping close to 17. Level 17 is at 12,000 experience, so if he gets this red dragon, he's right next to 17.
And he just smacked it for 42. That's a great damage roll.
And it responded with the ferocious spell of Stop Spell.
So, Erdrick's armor has a few interesting qualities that we haven't talked about. Not only does it have the best defense in the game, you notice that Will Wagner isn't really having to heal all that much. That's because it gives you a guaranteed 1 HP back per step. It also reduces all incoming hurt and hurt more damage by 1/3, as well as Fire Breath.
Sorry to interrupt. Will tried sleep, it didn't work, and the Stone Man fire breathed him, so he had to burn a heal more, and the sleep cost me heal more as well, and another sleep didn't work. Will's having a heck of a time with this Stone Man. He's gonna need a really good level 17 to make up for this.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just terrible RNG there. The Stone Man only having 3 out of 16 resistance. I believe that was 3 fails. Essentially right in a row. So that's pretty rough. But this blue
side... Oh, sorry. You're thinking about to say it. The Blue Dragon will give him 17, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that it wasn't a lucky dive either. Zarnax pointing that out in chat. It was very, very smartly played. The game just got the better of him, but luckily we saw a nice 10 attack point boost.
Yeah.
So this is still a pretty
10 power.
safe
This
fight.
is basically over. He could do this without getting any doubles, and he's going to get plenty of doubles on the way. This is pretty free. Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's a really good move for him to pick up 17 on the way down. That made this a lock, I think.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what CD does. She is outsiding, probably about to start her dive as well.
Yeah, we'll see how CD handles her 16 dive, if she decides she wants to get 17 as well, or if she she can get the Dragon Lord on 16. But that was a really, really smart, calculated dive by Will. I definitely agree with you and everyone in chat. That was very well done.
Yeah, that was just a brilliant play on his part. He is coming into the Dragon Lord fight with 117 HP, gets the first double. I'd say that this fight is pretty much already over.
I mean, I think we can start guessing how much MP he's going to have left when he kills the Dragon Lord. Not to jinx him or anything, but...
Lorgon pointing out in chat that the Death Necklace was indeed in Rimuldar. So thank you for that tidbit of information there. Definitely appreciate that.
Well, luckily 17 bailed them both out from needing to check that Rimuldar chest, because that's something that if it was a Death Necklace seed, could have come back to bite them, not checking that Rimuldar chest. Yeah, Beta noting that despite the big HP, Will's not getting any doubles. He got the opening double, though, and he really didn't need doubles, so he should be okay, but yeah, it's kind of... Oh, there's a double, so that's good for him.
And unfortunately, I haven't been counting, so...
Oh, I didn't bother to count. I figured he had it, but... And there he does. He got him.
So get out your GG. It's for WillWagnerMusic.
Yeah, Will Wagner had a really nice dive, really nice seed overall. I really liked his idea, his grinding early on before he explored, helped him get through the exploring quickly. That was a very well played seed by Will, and not to take anything from CD, who is diving and could just be a few minutes behind.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like she's gonna opt to not fight on the way down, so we might see a 16. So who knows? But GG to WillWagnerMusic, and hopefully we get to see that level 16. That would be kind of interesting to watch.
Yeah, it might be kind of interesting to see if CD, if she stays on 16, decides to go for the Death Necklace in the Treasury. That might be an interesting thing too.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always nice to see good decision making at work. And WillWagnerMusic just made the right decision to pick up 17 on his way down. That Stoneman gave him a little bit of trouble, but other than that, I would say that was a perfectly executed dive.
I mean, it's hard to argue. He took what was going to be a marginal Dragon Lord fight and turned it into winning with an extra heal more left over. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he definitely took the gamble there, and that gamble definitely paid off for him. The only stat that's still in the cautionary zone being MP, but that was obviously irrelevant here.
CD just fighting a Star Wyvern there, and suddenly is almost just a little more than 1,000 experience from 17. So I wonder if that will make her think about getting 17 and getting that nice.
And we are joined by WillWagnerMusic. GG to you, sir. Very, very wonderful dive there.
And getting that nice level.
Thank you very much. If it's too loud,
and we are joined by WillWagnerMusic. GG to you, sir. Very, very wonderful dive there.
Am I right now?
I would say that you're probably about 2.5 to 4 minutes ahead of CD.
Yeah, CD just started her dive a couple minutes ago.
I would say that you're probably about
that was an amazing dive.
2.5 to 4 minutes ahead of CD.
I gotta make sure I hit the right button.
Yeah, CD just started her dive a couple minutes ago. But yeah, you can be as loud as you want. That was an amazing dive.
So, Will, got a question for you, actually. So, watching me and Ryguy were kind of debating on whether grinding while exploring or grinding right outside Will, got a question for you, actually. So, watching me and Ryguy were kind of debating on whether grinding while exploring or grinding right outside of Garenham was what are your thoughts on when you decide to just sit down and grind?
I got a laugh there because I completely forgot that I had a key in my inventory. I was just so excited because I had Edric's sword, and I found Keytown right away. And so I was like, oh, as long as I get to 53 gold, I'll be able to get a key right away. I'm like, oh, I'll just grind until I can get 2. And then I'm like, I completely forgot I had one in the inventory. But initially, I was just going to get enough for 1 key so I could check the treasury without having to worry about losing the key for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a great point to make. So, what did you think about the seed overall?
I had 2 pretty good spots of luck early. One, I discovered the mountain cave pretty early, and I survived a lot of critical situations. I was able to get through the entire thing, and then grind the gold that I needed to get the best gear. And after I got the best gear and I had magic armor, it really helped getting through the second half of the map in order to get the items, because it was pretty tall. I noticed at one point I was at like, I think 104 north of the castle, and I'm like, this is a pretty tall map. I thought it was actually, at one point I was so high up, I thought that I had to keep on going because it wouldn't go past 100 or something like that for an NES character limit or something.
So the maximum height that the map can be is, or dimensions, is 120 by 120. It looked like you were hoping to wrap the map there and hopefully get lucky there. But unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be, but it was actually very fortuitous because you were able to find the jerk cave, and then you just ended up swinging up and you ended up getting the harp trading cave literally right after that. So that was really nice that the seed worked out that way.
Yeah, the death warping and having to go through the swamp cave was a little bit of a trek, but luckily we could outside and pop into the other side pretty easily, so it didn't take all the time that it could have. But having those Axe Knights right outside, I was worried at first, but I noticed a lot of the really powerful enemies in this seed had stop spell, and it made getting levels a little bit easier than needing to find a grind spot like either the swamp cave, spike tile, or even all the way out of the way at Hawksness. Going there didn't really make as much sense. But I found the first level of of Charlock to be pretty good. Red dragons, axe knights, even green dragons I think had stop spell, so it was easy pickings.
Yeah, that grind shot you up the levels really fast, got you to 16 really fast. CD just picked up 17 on the bottom floor, by the way, so she's looking good. It's not really a question, Will, but I feel like I want to give you a victory lap for that Charlock dive. I mean, take us through your thinking there, and just like I want to say how you pulled off that masterpiece.
I loved The Price is Right, and when I hit that number dead on with that blue dragon, I was laughing, but it was only as funny as running out of magic. I thought I had the death necklace on me, and I planned on using it. So getting that level and getting that 10 power boost was completely necessary. And then I noticed that if I would have used the death necklace, that barrage of DL2 breath that he was throwing at me probably would have ended my run. Just because the frequency, and I was able to get the maximum value out of my heal even when I had to use it around 40 or 41. So I didn't lose much on really questionable HP amounts, and that gave me a chance to double hit, I think maybe my second to last heal more. And I thought I'd be pretty good when I had 64 or more. Eight or so when I had over 140 attacks seemed like it was doable.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was definitely doable at 16 as well. You just needed to make it down to the bottom floor with all of your resources, and unfortunately, the game kind of RNG'd you there at the end, trying to troll you.
Definitely. Did CD pick up the death necklace? I didn't check if it was in a treasury because once I got down there with all my magic, I didn't want to jinx it. Especially with those stone men trying to crush my run. I think I ran into 3 in a row, and I had to spend somewhere around 8 magic points unsuccessfully.
Yeah,
So
you
see,
handled those stonemen
oh,
really
go
well.
ahead.
The sort of interesting point of that seed was that the death necklace was in the chest in Remulder, and neither you or CD ever checked the Remulder chest, despite it being right next to the castle. That was one kind of funny part of this seed, but that's what it ended up being.
I'm glad I didn't check there because I might have got ambitious and gone down to the normal Edric sword spot, especially if I didn't know I got that 10 power boost. I also found that the most frustrating part about that whole seed, even with the sprawling map, was not having repel. Not having repel and not having easy access to fairy water was not a fun part of that seed.
So actually, you did have easy access to fairy water. I don't know if you know or not, but McGrew opened up the door in Breckenary, so you can just waltz right in there and you can pick it up right there for a measly 20 gold. Obviously, that's going to take up inventory slots, but you do have access to repel that way.
I was not aware that he opened up that door, but I do go to I go to get fairy water there. I didn't want to burn a key, especially when I had to go one key every time I was going through the swamp cave to get the main portion of the map. Wait, I don't think I even found coal ever.
You did.
Yeah, the flute was in coal.
Yeah, I never got that. I don't think.
It was the little spark over swamp tiles just north of Tantagle. I'm pretty sure you both saw it.
Oh, maybe. Oh, you know what? Maybe I did.
Yeah, it was early game, so maybe you forgot about it. There wasn't anything else up there.
Oh, right. I think I did some initial leveling there after I went there for like a Wraith Knight or two. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Wow, I completely blanked. I thought I was actually looking for that in the second half of the map. I'm like, maybe I'm gonna luck out and Edric's armor is gonna be there when I was looking for Caitlin.
Yeah, it was just north of the castle, but it was not very worthwhile to see. Just to note, too, CD took out the Dragon Lord, so she's going to be finishing up momentarily here.
It's one of those unique seeds where it might actually be quicker to walk back from Charlock than to use Return.
Yeah, it might not be a walk of shame this time. You're right. It was very close to the castle.
Yeah, and it's super interesting how the seed played out. You guys diverged quite a bit early on, but you guys came pretty close to right next to each other. Probably about 50 minutes into the seed, you both were, what was it, like 200 and some odd experience away from each other, had the exact same item set, and then CD took an unfortunate death while she was searching for the armor. And then she decided to grind the golems in Swamp Cave instead of grinding on the first floor of Charlock. So that definitely gave you quite the advantage.
Interesting. I wonder if the golem grind would have probably saved time, because you can get it every battle, but when you have that stop spell being cast, I think that might have been it was the move early, right outside of not Garanham. Is it Garanham? Yeah, Garanham. Right outside of there. I think that there was a good concentration of Axe Knights and Star Wyverns. So I think if you had, once we got hurt more, I started to farm there for a little bit, and I built up a pretty meager MP.
Yeah, and that was definitely the struggle this seed, was going to be MP management for you guys. I think that's probably the biggest thing. But overall, I would say that both of you did a really good job with it, even though you had a very meager amount of MP till, I want to say, it was like level 9 or 10. And we are joined by cdinprov. GG to you, CD.
Okay, it'd be really nice if it didn't keep trying to type in the window. GG Will, hi guys, how you doing?
Good game, CD. That was very well played.
Well, I wasted a lot of time in the beginning when I was trying to get the gold grind set up, because I was a little busy laughing hysterically to the point where I started crying and my controller got all wet, because when I popped out and saw that there were 2 towns there, we got the sword in the treasury, and then what was it? The 3rd level was double-digit power. I was just like, all right, I'm not going to be able to go fast enough.
I got so excited I forgot I had a key.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was sitting there and I'm going, it would be really, really nice if this backdoors into Garanham. And then I popped down, saw it was Swamp Cave, and I should have just gone right through it, though there wasn't a gold chest over there. But yeah, I wasted a ton of time. But all in all, I didn't finish that far behind you, so I'm pretty okay with that. It's not 2 hours later. I didn't die to the Dragon Lord. Maybe the top floor of Charlock would have been faster because I could have used Hurt more, but at the same time, it felt like Swamp was a better choice because of you could step off, step back on, instead of waiting in between all the different encounters.
Yeah, and we've kind of chatted about that a little bit with Will Wagner. The only thing that I think that really separated it was whether or not you decided to use the fairy flute. Because with heal more, you would have been able to just tank it, and you would have been saving all the time with using the flute, because the flute is 8 seconds per deal in the time that it would have taken you to walk back. So it was a little interesting to see you use the flute, but at the same time, it was still a very efficient grind. You were 2, almost 3 levels behind at that point when you started the grind, and then you ended up finishing not too far behind Will. So that was actually really impressive. The only thing is you guys diverged right at the beginning. I was talking to Will a little bit about this. You guys diverged pretty much after finding Garanham. He elected to grind, whereas you decided to grind while you were trying to explore. And then probably at about the 50-minute mark or so, you guys kind of converged together, and you guys were 200 experience apart, and you guys had the same item set. You guys were actually really, really close together. And then, unfortunately, while you were searching for the armor, you took a very, very unfortunate death there. And
Yeah, I got a little distracted. If you watch me at all, you know that that's not an uncommon thing. Sorry, go ahead, Will.
I ended up having a little bit of luck on the first dive through to the other continent. I found the mountain cave, and I made it all the way through, and I was able to die because I had already failed once at the gold grind, so I knew where the gold chest was. So after I made it through the mountain cave, I was able to get the gear and already have the other quest items.
Nice. Anybody know what was in the grave?
No, you guys both skipped the grave. By the time you had found, you guys found everything by the time you were done. I don't think we even ever saw where the grave was.
I saw it. I saw it when I was looking for Staff of Rain Cave. There were two of them right next to each other. I think I stepped in, went, "Hi, Staff of Rain Cave. I'm done. Let's go get to the jerk," and then go figure out a grind. But it was either right above there or it was down on the very bottom of the map underneath the jerk.
The token cave was a fairy water, and I think the free stuff cave, that's the one where you don't gotta use a torch, you get free stuff. I call it free stuff cave. Free stuff cave was a gold chest.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever even saw that one. But yeah, I wasted a bunch of time in the beginning with the gold grind because I was just sitting there going, okay, this is so much better than a 3-hour-long slog fest, but I don't think I can possibly go fast enough. But I want to say a big thanks to Lord of the Synth for pulling double duty tonight, or we never would have gotten the second race, the 9 p.m. race restreamed at all. So again, people, if you enjoy seeing these sorts of things on Randomania, it might be a good idea to volunteer if your computer and your internet can handle it, because otherwise, there's no content without somebody who's willing to give up their computer for an entire night just so that people can, you guys can enjoy the races. So big thanks to Lord of the Synth and the Amuse Miniature, Rye Guy, and I believe Z-Man's doing our tracking right now.
that is correct.
When last tournament, I had a laptop that was pretty subpar, so I couldn't do a lot of the restreaming, but I was able to find out how to do that and set everything up so that this year I'm able to do a little bit more restreaming. So I'm looking forward to that. And there's a great set of people who can help you out. So even if you're not necessarily as technologically savvy, they could help get you all set up so that it's an easy process.
Well put. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up there. It's been a long night. Good game, Will. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks, everybody who was having fun emoting in my chat, even though I can't get it out of emote-only mode now. And I will catch you guys later. Bye.
Good night, CD. Good game again.
GG, CD. So, Will, any final thoughts for the seed and the race overall?
I think for that seed, that was a really nice, a tamed seed, especially when we had kind of had the previous tournament with big swamp and chaos mode. So maybe if things get a little bit later and in the future round, we can mix up the flags. But I tend to be a fan of short Charlock, and I don't know about anybody else, but if you're down for some exotic flags, just let me know ahead of time, and I'm willing to give it a shot.
I'll go on record as saying short Charlock is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I never miss not having to save a torch for the entire game.
Yeah, definitely. So coming up. Sorry, push to talk. Okay, there we go. So coming up, we have a few races tomorrow. Most notably, we have Simbu is facing off against the... Archfield Monk.
Yeah, I think it's Simbu versus Archfield Monk. Zarnax 42 against Braxton Muse. Scratch Dragon against Mr. Home. And you know what? I think I'll go through these in order. So if you have a chance to catch them, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard, Mr. Holmes is taking on Scratch Dragon. At 10:30, Braxis Muse versus Zarnax 42. At 11 o'clock. Oh, I'm sorry, not 11 o'clock. At 9 o'clock. I have all these way off. My bad. It's 7 o'clock. You know what? Someone else can do this better than I can. In fact, I'm sure anyone can do this better than I can.
Jay Coper will be facing off against Chitin 619, and that'll be at 11 p.m. Eastern. Vonnie Vaughn will be facing off against Silverfire, and that'll be at 10 o'clock. And then we have Archfield Monk and Simbu at 9. We have Braxis Muse versus Zarnax 42 at 8:30. And then Mr. Holmes versus Scratch Dragon at 7 o'clock. So Nest Cardinality, Sparkover, Z-Man will be commentating. We have a couple of restreamers. It looks like the race between Vonnie Vaughn and Silverfire have been set to air on RPG Limit Break. The other ones are to be determined at this point. So if you enjoyed this race, please come again and support these runners and everybody who is joining. Hopefully you can enjoy here. And so, Rye Guy, any final thoughts before we close out for the night?
I think that's about it. As Will said, it was a nice seed. We saw the runners pull some really good strats. We saw some very good dives, and that was a very enjoyable way to open up the tournament for both Will and CD. Thank you guys for running. Thanks for Lord of the Synth for restreaming. Thanks to Z-Man for tracking, and thank you for commentating with me.
Yes, it's always a pleasure, Rye Guy, and I hope to see you again soon. Hopefully we can commentate together again. It's been a blast. And thank you so much, Lord of the Synth, for the restream. Double duty again. And then we have Z-Man on tracking and Rye Guy on commentary with me. From all of us at Randomania, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I hope you enjoy.
Let me get one shout out. If you're a Randomania fan and you like Dragon Warrior 1, Rye Guy and myself and some of the others get in on a Dragon Warrior 4 randomizer. We go through the first 4 chapters. It's about the same length as a Dragon Warrior randomizer, and it's a ton of fun. You'll never beat Rye Guy. No one does, but it's fun just to play.
Oh, someone will beat me. It is much fun, though. Yes, you should absolutely get involved in. All the Dragon Warriors have randomizers, all 1 through 4. So there's plenty of randomizing out there for you, if you have the desire.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for watching once again. Rye Guy, thank you for joining me, and we will see you guys next time.